Everybody, welcome back to Ogre Speed Shop. So we're gonna get into changing out the head gasket and all the gaskets on the top end here, and hopefully I'll solve the problem with our little misfire that we had. A little fluttering, but definitely gonna check everything for cracks, squareness, flatness, and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so I got started. I got the hoses, I got the radiator drain in. Got one of the hoses off. I got the heater hose off. The bypass off. So the rest is going to be all the little knick-knacky stuff when we start going. So I'm probably just going to time lapse through that so you don't have to get too bored with it. So let's go ahead and get into that. Start tearing off the carburetor, intake, exhaust. This little, well, I might leave that on there for a point to lift the head off. But yeah, so let's get into it. I want to check this water pump too. Make sure it's been pumping. All right, we got down to the point where I'll probably have to take some of the front stuff off of there too. Maybe not. The water pump's below all that, but yeah. So that's basically ready to unbolt. And the problem I was having was this one bolt right here, because this lever that must have broke off the carburetor at some point was I think it has to do with the choke or something. But it was jammed down in there and wasn't allowing me to get the bolt out until I had all the rest of them out and was able to, move the assembly out to where I could get that last bolt out. And those bolts broken, or those pins? I can't tell if those are pins, or I think they are just pins, aren't they? Or are they supposed to be bolts? Well, if they are supposed to be bolts, that means we're going to have to get them out of there at some point. But yeah, it wasn't so bad. No broken bolts other than that. I don't know if those are supposed to be pins or bolts. Kind of look like pins. I'll just see if they can thread out or not, but I think they are pins. I don't know why those would be broken off. It's not like it's a 5.3 liter in a Silverado where they just break. But yeah. So the head's from this point up, so I don't think there's anything else we need to take off. So yeah, let's get the valve cover back off of it and get this head pulled out. One thing I did notice when we pulled this valve cover off originally, this is decently clean in here. So the gauges, it reads 62,977 miles, and then starting to kick over to something tenth, probably 9. So that ain't bad, 62,977 miles. I don't doubt that that's accurate. Because if you go over here and you look at the pedals, there is zero wear on any of the pedals. Look at that. Those are like they're brand new out of the factory. I mean, the gas pedal's missing, but I think it's because it probably fell through some at some point and disappeared that way. But none of the pedals have any wear on them. So I don't doubt for a minute that 62,000 is the actual mileage on it. And just look at how clean these the valve cover, or under the valve cover, is. Pretty much has me convinced it's not. It's going to be a good motor once we get that head gasket replaced. So just up here cleaning up the transmission to get ready to drain it, because a buddy of mine actually gave me a good idea to check it just to be sure that there's no chunks in it, to figure out what that knocking noise is. The rattle noise is more fitting, I guess. I'm hoping it's just the throwout bearing, but it might be a gear, lost a tooth or something. But I just want to talk about this Muncie SM465. And if you see it right there, it's got the PTO on it. But it actually has a port on both sides, so you can run a PTO on either side, which is kind of cool. But this is a nice heavy-duty transmission they used from 67 all the way up to 91, I believe. And it's overall a really stout transmission, so I'm hoping it's just the throwout bearing and not the gears. Because it doesn't really matter. I can always rebuild it. But I gotta clean this thing up because look how much crap is on this thing. There's a mud dauber's nest right there, and just the mud and muck from being in an oil field for however many years, probably over 50 years. So we're gonna drain it and see what we get. Make sure there's no chunks in it. We can always pull this plate off the side of it too to inspect it if we want to, or we could even pull the PTO off to look at it a little better too. But just wanted to show you that and share that that there is 2 ports. You can do it on either side of the transmission to run your PTO. Pretty cool. And like I said, that's the GM or the Muncie SM 465. Well, the good news is I didn't find any chunks in there with the magnet, at least not on that level. So, but if you look, it didn't have very much fluid in it either. And I put like a quart or about half a quart in it the other day. So, yeah, I think maybe if we just put some fluid in it, hopefully it'll be all right. But we're going to try it no matter what. I mean, it works. We've already driven it. I've got up to 3rd gear in it, and it's fine. But, yeah, we'll test it out some more. But that fluid definitely doesn't look good. And that's what I just put in there. So whatever was in there was probably just water. And so I'm just going to let that drain out, and I'll get some more gear lube, and we'll fill her back up again. So I think just to make things easier, I'm just going to leave the rockers where they're at, because I can get to all the head bolts without removing them. And then when I lift it out, the lifter or the push rod will just kind of fall out. And should take care of that. And that way I don't have to disassemble everything and have everything off right now. And I definitely got to figure out a way of chaining it up to lift it out. But I'm going to get to my engine hoist first. But let's get these bolts off. Well, I think we found the problem. Yeah, kind of missing some portions of the head gasket there. Look at those. It's like almost like it was ground in there. So we'll have to check that to make sure there's nothing like permanently damaged there. But so yeah, I think we found our problem. That hole and that hole. Let's pull that gasket off there. Pretty obvious. Now what worries me is if that's gouge there, which it kind of looks like it probably is. Oh wait, there's more gas packs over there. Okay, well no there isn't. You can put a feeler gauge in there, make sure it's not too deep. Otherwise the box is probably going to need decked. This isn't the original head gasket though, so this has happened before. That's a Felpro. That ain't a factory one. Alright. Well, we definitely found the problem. Now can we fix the problem? That pulling the block out and having a machine. Right, so it's a whole new day. So what are we doing today other than walking through a spider web? Ah, dang, I hate that. But anyways, we gotta get the surfaces cleaned up on the head and the block, so we can check it for squareness and flatness and hopefully no gaps or cracks. I don't know if I'll be able to find a crack if I try, but you know, maybe be a visual thing. I think the other thing I'm going to do today possibly is drop the transmission out so we can take a better look at it, because since it's pretty easy to get out where it's at right now. So get that out, take a look at, see if we can figure out if it's just the pilot bearing, or I'm sorry, the throwout bearing, or the if there's actually a bad gear in it someplace. So it might just be because it was empty. I mean, it didn't have any fluid in it, so I can imagine it's going to make noise when it rotates. So hopefully it didn't do any damage with it running around like that. So yeah, let's get in here and get this stuff cleaned up. so we can get the head back on when the gaskets come in on Tuesday. I got the head all cleaned up, went through, chased all the holes for the exhaust manifolds, intake manifolds, the valve cover, the spark plug holes. So everything's been cleaned up and chased. So we got nice clean surfaces to torque it down. So now we got to move on to this. And I was kind of holding off on it because probably have to climb up in here to get access to the back there. But, you know, that's how it is. So I got everything cleaned up on the block, but I did notice something. As you rotate this around, if you look right there on number 3 piston, you see a bunch of little nicks and whatnot in there. So this has been hit a couple of times by something. But we're still going to run it. This isn't going to be the final engine in this thing. So for now, it's just, I'm not going to spend money to rebuild an inline 6 at this time as far as getting this thing going. Because if anything, I'll go bigger and I'll put a big block in this thing or something. Or maybe a diesel, who knows. But anyways, we're going to put it back together and we're going to drive it the way it is. I think it'll be fine. I mean, it was running pretty good. I'm just worried about maybe whatever that, you know, the chunk that came out of here is what caused that. But, you know, we'll check the compression once we get everything back together. And if it's good, we're going to run it. All right, so we're going to remove this shifter so it'll be easier to get the transmission out from the bottom. The way you do that is you see this ring right here. That's spring loaded. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not. The spring loaded, you just kind of push it down and twist. And it should release it enough to get the shifter out. I know it popped up there. Let's see if we can get it out the rest of the way. There you go. Just sort of make sure it's in neutral, which it is. So you should just pop right out, but there's roll pins in there. Okay, let's get this thing off of here. Okay, it does just pop out. Just like that. Easy peasy. I don't know why I started saying that all of a sudden. There you go. So I've got a really annoying cricket, or 2 of them, one on each side of the shop, bugging the crap out of me. Kind of love it. So we got the shifter out for the transmission now. We can go ahead and get ready to drop it. And in order to do that, there's a bunch of stuff we got to disconnect first. So things that kind of come out, we got to disconnect this PTO shaft right here. It goes to back here. Got to disconnect the drive shaft. And that has a center bearing, which means we have to release that. Even though we can unbolt it from the transmission back here, we still have to remove the center bearing to slide it back and get it out of the way, because the slip yoke is back here. But pretty cool, you can just disconnect the drive shaft from there. Nah, we definitely have to release the center bearing. That's actually in good shape, surprisingly. So that's about it, and there's like 4 bolts that hold it to the bell housing. They should come right out. Oh, we gotta take the PTO handle off too. It shouldn't be too bad. So I'll bring it back when I get all that stuff unbolted. All right, so I got the lever out for the PTO. Got the PTO drive shaft out over there. That was kind of a pain in the butt. It's got it's like kind of pressed onto the shaft up here, and just kind of with a keyway and a little, you know, square bolt that holds it in. What was really weird is I had to get the mid bearing loose. It had a castle nut and cotter pins on it, so they didn't want that thing coming out of there. But we got everything out now, so all that's left to do is disconnect the speedo cable and then unbolt it, and we should be able to drop it out. Cool thing is the bell housing is actually what's attached to the cross member there, so it should be real easy. Just can leave that in, and then we can pull the transmission out without removing the bell housing, and it just stays in the same place. All right, so we're removing an SM6 or 465. You got to remember, if you look up here, 2 of the bolts that hold it in are on the inside of the bell housing, but you can get to them with a, you know, an offset open end wrench or a box end wrench. So Shouldn't be too bad. Get those out first, and we'll work on the outside, one of the two uppers. Probably gonna strap this down too, because I know that that PTO is gonna make this thing unbalanced and want to flip over. So gonna be fun, but we'll get her out of there. Let's see if we got a bad throwout bearing or if we got some bad gears in the transmission. Hopefully it's just because it was empty, but I know the throwout bearing probably needs replaced anyways. All right, we got that big old beast out of there. That thing's huge. The guy that, what I had to do for the jack to get this up high enough to get it out of there on the jack stand. Now, I probably could have dropped it off the jack stand, dragged it out, but that was easier. A little more sketchy, but we got her out. So now we can check and see if we can check the throwout bearing, check the input shaft, make sure there's nothing loose in there, and go from there. Hopefully it's just a throwout bearing. When I pulled these bolts out for the bolting the transmission to the bell housing, they were all kind of loose. Luckily, because this one here, you can't even get a tool on it. I had to use a special, here, I'll show you. I had to use that bad boy to be able to get in there just right. And even that didn't really work, so I ended up going to my little stubby, which I don't know where I put it. It's around here someplace, but I got a little stubby 3/4 inch wrench, and that ended up getting it out a lot easier. But yeah, that one bolt is just hidden in there. So they were all kind of loose. So I think the lock washer had lock washers on them. I think they just kind of wore out and started loosening up. So you can say what you will about lock washers. They're not the greatest, but I mean, they do kind of work. A couple of them got tied up and actually like jammed because of the lock washer. So I don't know, to each their own. If you like lock washers, cool. If not, you know, for this fact, you can't really do much else other than a lock washer. But yeah, got her out. So now we got to clean her up and make sure that's good. Check the throwout bearing. We'll do that here in a minute. But yeah, let's get into it. So initially, the feel of the throwout bearing feels great. What's weird though is when it's on the shaft, you can kind of hear it. So if that's spinning fast, maybe that could be causing the noise. I don't know if you can hear that or not. So it could be from the play on the shaft, or it could just be the gears. I mean, that's in neutral right now. I think the throwout bearing is actually good. Spins smoothly. It's just it kind of has a little bit of side-to-side play on it, but I mean, I guess it could cause it, but I don't know. Might just because the fluid was so low. We'll probably pull the PTO off and the side cover off, take a look at everything. Clean it up first though, because it's I don't want to get all that dirt in there. Just make sure there's no chunks, and hopefully it'll work. It's going to work either way. We're putting it back in, whether it's broken or not, unless it's like really broken, but it worked. I drove it up to 3rd gear and it was fine. Didn't grind or nothing, so I don't know. It may just need fluid or may just be worn down enough for whatever. We'll figure it all out. Now the transmission's out. One of the things we can do once we get the head gasket, get this all put back together, and we can actually fire this up as is because the flywheel's on there. So we got a starting point, so the starter can engage. And, you know, the clutch can spin on its own, it's fine. It's clamped because it's not disengaged right now. So that ain't gonna go nowhere. I could put a shaft in there too if I really need to. I think I got one somewhere around here that matches that. I think it's the same one that's on the fire, but now that's a 28 spline now. But once we get the head gasket, we'll fire this up and make sure that rattling noise isn't coming from the engine, which I'm pretty sure is not. Because this thing was oiling really good. It just had this the blown head gasket on it. So once we get that, hopefully tomorrow, today's Monday, so maybe tomorrow. It could be today. We'll see, but we might be able to track down that rattle being just a transmission. Once we get the head gasket and head back on there, we can fire this thing up just the way it is. So I definitely think the clunking is probably coming from the transmission, because listen to this. It's a lot of play. And it's in neutral. What if it has something to do with the PTO? I might pull that off of there just to see. All right, so we're gonna pull this PTO off here. Just wanted to show you this little repair that was on there. Completely covered in mud and muck. So my guess is it was there from a long time ago. But we'll see what we see when we get that PTO off of there. So it looks like it's just the 6 bolts to go around it. 9/16. Actually, they look like studs. There they are. It's gonna take a while. I'll be back when I get them all loose. I got them mostly off. I got one bolt or one stud here that's coming out, and then it stopped coming out. So yeah, it's being a pain. So I should be able to lift it out at this point. Got one stud. It kind of came out and then didn't come out. There it goes. I don't see anything there that's out of whack. That all feels good. How's that function? Definitely a lot of play in there. Yeah, 4th gear, the 1-to-1 is solid. There's no play there, but in between every other gear. How about reverse? Ah. Yeah, I think it's just wearing out. Definitely need a rebuild at some point, but for now it shifts, it works, so we're gonna leave it. It might make some noise. Yeah, so hopefully this video comes out somewhat good. So here's the thing I'm discovering. Look right in this area. Let me get a light and get lit up a little bit better. I want a better light. The snap-on light's starting to wear down. Luckily I got this one from Harbor Freight, the Braun one. That's pretty been pretty good so far. All right, so if you look right here at these synchros right here, watch how much look at all that play in it. All right, and every gear I put it in, so right now it's in 3rd, I think. Even in neutral, it's got a lot of movement there. See all this, how far those teeth are moving? Just seems like an awful lot to me. So I'm thinking that's probably where the problem's at. Here's my thinking. When I put it in 4th and lock all that together, with that 1-to-1, there's no movement whatsoever. So I think most of the noise is coming from that input shaft. One of these synchros in here isn't synchronizing or is worn out. So I go into, I think this is 3rd. Still there. 1st. Still there. So it's all the movements in this area here. And the only time it doesn't do it is in fourth gear when that's locked together. Even second, same amount of movement. Except for fourth. It's all locked together and we got a solid shaft. It's the only time it doesn't do that knocking. So I think something in this area right here is where the problem is. Either this synchro band or the gear itself. Something in there. So to get this off of here and look at it somehow, some way. I think it has to come, I think the whole shaft has to come out this way. But I don't know yet. I've never taken one of these apart before. This is the first time. So the big thing is taking this the shifter plate off. You got to make sure it's in between neutral and reverse, otherwise it won't come out. So speaking of that, you got to put it back in reverse in order to put it back together. If I do that, just all that extra movement right there, I think is what's causing all that noise. So it probably needs a synchro replacement. Am I going to worry about it right now? Probably not. But I think we found the problem. Because the noise goes away once we lock these in and nothing else moves that much because, well, it's all locked together at that point. Never know until you actually take the whole thing apart, but there's something in that. You can see that. I mean, that's pretty, it's a lot looser than I'm used to seeing. Actually, all the synchros are that loose. So maybe the dogs are worn out a little bit. I don't know. You see the dogs at all? Put it in reverse. I don't know. I don't know. We're in reverse now. Put it back in neutral. I don't know. Like I said, I think we gotta take the whole thing apart, but I'm not gonna worry about it until it goes boom. The cool thing about these SM465s is they'll break a drive shaft before they break themselves, especially the granny gear. Ask me how I know. It was many, many years ago, but I know what this transmission can do to a drive shaft. So I want to kind of make sure that there's no like huge gap in here. It's going to cause a problem again. So I got my feeler gauges out and a straight edge. This is a machinist rule, so I know it's square and flat. So it's basically a straight edge. So we're going to go in here and try to measure and see if we can get, this is 2/1000, and it does not go in. So I'm happy with that. Both areas where it was sticking, the two starts to kind of go in here, but it gets stuck. So I'm fine with that. I'm actually happy that ain't going to be an issue. I don't think so. What is that? But anyways, yeah, I think we're good on that. So let's check the head real quick. Make sure it's good. All right, so I checked the head. It's about the same thing. The two starts to slide in, but again, it's stuck. So I'm not too worried about it. I think it'll still seal up fine. So the only thing that might be an issue, and hopefully it won't be, is the way that piston's kind of chewed up right there on top. See those little nicks right in there? But as long as it's not, this piston ain't compromised, should be all right. And like I said, this isn't a permanent engine that we're putting on here. This is just a for now engine. And just to get it roadworthy again and be able to drive it till I can plan a future power plant for it to make the ultimate tow vehicle like I've talked about in the past. All right, we got the gasket kit and a battery. So we got a battery so it has its own battery now. Because eventually the truck's gonna need one anyways. So I wanted to go ahead and get that so I didn't have to keep taking this one out of the 70 GMC to use in here. But let's get this gasket installed. Oh yeah, I got some of the copper gasket spray. All right, so I cleaned up the head bolts. So we are gonna reuse them. They are not stretch to yield bolts or torque to yield bolts. And they're 1969 technology, so I trust those over new ones anyways. But, you know, don't do as I do as I say on this one. If you're gonna do this, replace the head bolts. It's not a bad option, but I can't find original ones to replace these anywhere. Nobody has them. without buying ARP like Jeep something or other for like 160 bucks for them. I don't even know if they'll work or not. So yeah, I'm reusing them. They'll be fine for the engine that's temporary for now. So I'm not too worried about it. So let's get this head gasket and head back on. All right, so I sprayed the gasket down with the copper stuff just because we already had a leak, so we might as well make sure it doesn't do it again. All right, and I'm turning gold. Gotta use the engine hoist, so. That method worked really well, getting that back on there. It went right on, perfect. All right, so these bolts do go down into the water jacket, so they need to have some kind of sealer on it. So I'm gonna put some sealer on it, get those things in. I'll put some oil around the top of it, just for a little lubrication for torquing it down. Gotta find the torque specs on it first though. So you may be wondering, hey Ogre, where do you find the torque specs for this engine? Easy. 1969 and 1970 GMC service manual. Get one. The internet tells all kinds of different stories. So this, according to this, it says Titan cylinder head bolts in sequence indicated in figure 16. Correct torque is 95 foot-pounds. Start engine and run, and then retighten. So there's this, the pattern. Start from the middle, work your way out, basically. So that's what we're gonna do. It also says to do it in steps. So we're gonna go, we'll do 45, 65, and 95, maybe in one in between. All right, we got the head all torqued back on now. So I went 45, 75, 95. So I think that'll work pretty good. And there's no binding or nothing. They all torqued down perfectly. And the other thing I noticed is when I got this thing running originally, number one was the back plug here. The actual one's supposed to be the forward, so they had it 180 degrees out. But like I said, it doesn't matter where it's at as long as you know where it's at. And that's what we did. We put it number one to the back and it ran fine. But when we stepped the distributor back in this time, I'm going to make sure it's pointing in the right direction so everything's the way it's supposed to be for this engine. So the next thing we got to do, sorry, I'm out of breath from sitting in the engine bay here and torquing those things down to 95 foot-pounds. So anyways, we got to get the push rods in there and get those set up. I want to find top dead center on well, I want to find a timing pointer and top dead center so we can time it if we need to. All the good stuff. But for now, I'm going to take a little break, go in, do some editing. When we come back, we get this thing back together. We got everything put back on. Rockers are adjusted, well, lifters are adjusted, all that good stuff. Just a regular hydraulic tap it way. You go to zero lash, and on this one they call for a full turn. So I did that. Set the distributor to 4 degrees before top dead center. Now we want to test for the compression again. See if 1, 2, and 3 have compression now. That's what we're doing. So this is number one. That's a lot better. What was it, 60 last time, if that? All right, so we're good on that one. Remember, 2 and 3 were 0 for a reason, because it was escaping out of the other hole. Number 2. Look at that. 120 is what the book says it should have. And it keeps stealing my freaking adapter. So number 3, I think is, yeah, number 3 is the one that has kind of the messed up piston. Not like bad messed up. It's got little nicks and cuts in it, so we'll be able to see here if that matters. I think we're good, at least for now. All right, let's start putting everything back together now. So I took the back 3 cylinders too, and they were all above 120. So we got good compression on all cylinders now. So the next time we get this thing back together is to put all this stuff back on. We gotta clean it up first. It's nasty. So we're gonna do that. I'm not gonna show you that because I'm bored thinking about it. So I don't want to put y'all through that. So I gotta clean all this stuff and get everything put back on. I got all new gaskets for it, so should be good to go. Still trying to figure out what this LPG thing is. It came with 2 different gaskets that go between here and the exhaust manifold, wherever the heck I got that at. And one blocks it off, the other leaves it open. So I don't know why it would matter, but who knows. All right, got it all back together. Intake's on, valve covers on, everything's sealed up now except for the water jacket on the front. No big deal, but I got the carburetor on, fuel line hooked up. Just gotta run wires. We'll get it fired up tomorrow, but it's late. Been working on it all day, so I'm tired. It's time to go take a little rest for a little bit. Just gonna go relax. Good morning, everybody. Got my coffee. Getting this beautiful morning here going, and to get this old 1 ton running again. It's actually starting to rain again, isn't it? But anyways, we're gonna get this thing fired up today. Gotta get some plug wires put on it, and so yeah, she should fire right up. First things first though, we gotta do some cleanup here. We got tools and parts spread out everywhere, so we gotta get this thing together. Transmission's not gonna go back in yet. I'm waiting on gaskets. Did order them, so. But everything else, we can fire it up without the transmission on there. Well, I think I got everything hooked up. So let's see what happens when we try to fire it up. Maybe timing's off a little bit. Let me get the trigger. A little easier to control it from up here. I'm gonna go back a little bit, try to advance a little bit more. Oh, the exhaust is still disconnected. Let me tighten that up real quick and then we'll try it again. Get that buttoned up. I also kind of forgot about the major vacuum leak right here. Get that put back on there. I'm going to change this because I don't like the way this thing just goes straight up and in. I'm going to run some hard line, but you see how it interferes with everything. But anyways, let's try it again like that now. Oh man, remember what I was saying about the radiator? Well, there you go. Shit. I gotta tie that radiator down. Hopefully I didn't just cause a big leak. Probably did. I gotta run it smooth. It doesn't seem to be pulling fuel though, so I don't know what's going on with that. Our fuel pump? I think we did. Not pulling fuel. She's running. Rising. Sounds pretty good. So you give her gas. all up. And I'm pretty sure I've destroyed that radiator now. I'm gonna try putting water in it and fill it up, see what it does. But anyways, yeah, I forgot about the stupid radiator. Well, seems to be doing good. I don't want to run her too long because we don't have coolant in it. Alright, so one thing I didn't notice or hear was any knocking. So that noise is definitely coming from the transmission because it's not on there right now and it's gone. So hopefully that's not an oil leak already. Could be from the valve cover, but anyways, I think I'm gonna tighten down the exhaust manifold bolts again because they seem so I don't know, I hear a leak somewhere. Tighten down everything, just retorque everything. Now it's got some heat in it. And see if this radiator will hold water, because I doubt it, but you know, that's what happens when you're not paying attention. You're trying to do things too fast. Yeah, I destroyed the radiator. Damn it. Always pay attention. Well, I got the radiator out of there, and basically, this thing is good for one thing now. That would be scrap. So one thing I wasn't sure about is if this water pump is actually pumping. I think I'm going to replace it no matter what, but it's making water move, so you can see it right there. So it's doing something, which is cool. Now the other thing I know isn't working, and I don't know if it's the regulator or the alternator itself, but it's not charging. And I don't have a lot of wiring to it really, other than the starting circuits and whatnot. And I'm pretty sure this regulator is pretty toast. But we do have power going to it, so as far as the plug goes, so everything's there. So it should work if the regulator works or if the alternator works. So I might still work on that a little bit. Yeah. Let's get that water neck on there. We gotta clean it up. Let's get stuff buttoned up so I can get a new radiator. All right, so far so good. I know I got this weird like bullhorn looking coolant, but it allows me to keep water in it for now. And it's not a problem until this opens up. I think I might have a drip somewhere here. And a couple drips probably. But here's the cool thing. Fire right up. She's running pretty dang good. So yeah, I think we got a good runner here now. Just gotta get a radiator. I'm pretty happy with that. So it just allows me to keep water in it so I can run it a little bit longer. If that thermostat ever opened up though, it'd be quite the geyser, I would think. And I don't know if the hose or something, seems like something's leaking. But it's coming from up here, so it's the hose. This is an old hose, so it's the one that was on it. But yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. Earlier I was having issues with keeping it running, and I couldn't figure out why. It seemed like it wasn't, it seemed like the fuel pump wasn't working. It wasn't sucking fuel up in. I started messing with the auto mixture screw for some reason, and I've set it originally at 1.5. That's what I'm just used to doing on, the initial setup. Well, it's at 3.5 now, and that runs good that way. So that's what it needed, was just to open that up a little bit. So overall, pretty happy. It's running. I mean, it sounds great. And so now we just got to get the transmission back on there and a radiator. And we can actually drive this thing. Well, brakes, of course, But yeah, we're getting that much closer. So I decided the C30 needed an air cleaner, because I didn't want to use the oil bath cleaner again because it's so big and bulky and I don't have to put oil in it. This thing over here. So I got a new one. And it's just too cute. Look at that little thing. But all it needs is a little bit of air, so that's good enough for me. I'm going to modify a few things to make it work, but hey, it's in there. And now we got the clean air going into it. Not a lot, but how much does a freaking what's it called, a monojet need? About that much, I'd say. So there we go, got an air cleaner. So I noticed the wiring on the voltage regulator. 2 of the wires were actually cut, and 2 of them were chewed up pretty good. So went in, repaired, hooked the ground back up right here. And the other 2 wires, the reds being the main power. So let's see if this actually charges now with it plugged in and see what happens. So let's fire it up and see if we're charging now. So I figure I probably better record what the reading is right now before charging. So we're at 12.7 right now. Now it's fired up again and see what we get. Look at that. It's going up. Get that to stay in there. With the 13.1. If I can do this all at once. Rev her up and see what happens. It's doing something. It doesn't like to stay running for very long until it really warms up. But it moved up. It's definitely doing something. Shut it off, it's back down to 12.9. I did notice something once I hooked that up, repaired those wires. If you listen, for whatever reason, when I hit, put the battery power to it, it starts doing this. Not sure why it does that. But I'm not real crazy about it. It's obviously activating something. So I have to do some research on that. I don't know why it would be clicking without it running. But it could be, who knows. Like, I don't have any real wiring in here, so. I don't know. Maybe the horn relay? Hard to say. Well, it's crazy if you actually hook some stuff up, what'll work. Check this out. Played around with it, tapped on the horn relay down inside there, and we have a horn. That's awesome. Well, you know how you can tell if the system's charging? By disconnecting the battery? Well, check this out. It loses a little bit, but still running. So I think part of the alternator needs to be, I changed the voltage regulator because it's clicking when I hook the battery up. And that's not normal, I don't think, so. But it does seem to be charging. I stopped doing it, but a minute ago the alternator was howling pretty good. There it goes. I don't know if that's coming across on video or not. But yeah, new alternator. I think maybe it's internally shorting. I don't know yet. It's been sitting for 20 years. Who knows? So I think I found the problem with the alternator because I don't think that's supposed to have continuity there. So I think that's what's causing the regulator to, when you got battery power here, it shouldn't be touching, it shouldn't be connected to the ignition wire here. Well, it's not ignition wire, but it's from the regulator. So I think that's what's turning it on. Because I tested the same feature on the other alternators I have, and none of them have continuity to any of those pins. So I think that's the problem, something in the alternator. So I'm playing around with the alternator. I didn't really think about recording it, but problem I was having when I put battery power to it when it's plugged into the regulator will click on. And I've discovered that the charge port was connected to the, I'm not sure which port that is. It's the R pin, and that goes to the regulator. It's the white wire right here, and it goes into the regulator here. So that shouldn't be activating it unless it's charging and it has ignition power. So I pulled it apart, and as soon as I pulled it apart, a whole bunch of stuff fell out. I'm not just worried about the brushes, because that's, see, there's a brush right there and a brush right there that sprung out. Those can go back in, that's not a big problem. Problem is, there's a mud dauber's nest in there, there is a spider nest in there, so maybe if I clean everything up, maybe I can get that continuity to go away, because you can see all the dirt and grime down in here. So if I get everything cleaned out, maybe it'll work. So, but yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in here that shouldn't be touching, that is touching because of nests and whatnot. So we're gonna clean it up and see if we can make it work. All right, so I have no idea. Maybe it's supposed to be that way, but so this winding, the outer winding on the alternator connects to this, which is also all these other things on here. And there's continuity between that and the charge post. So I don't know, I can't get it to go away. And I don't know if because this is bad or because my buddy's is bad, it's supposed to be like this or it's not supposed to be like this. I don't know. So yeah, I have to get a new one to find out for sure, but I gotta get this back together and then, you know, because at least it does charge. It doesn't allow it. I don't know for what reason it's clicking the regulator on and off as soon as I connect the battery. So who knows? I'm sure there's an internal short someplace that I just can't find or don't know about. So if anybody that knows about alternators out there, let me know. So after doing some research and using AI, you know, I've never done that before, using Chat GPT or whatever, discovered that these two posts, this one and this one, should not be touching. Should not have continuity. So I'm going to see if I can get this apart further and maybe figure out what's causing it. Or I think I get a new alternator for about 60 bucks. So it's just a little 55 amper, but reman one's about 55 bucks, I think. And I'll end up going to Yao Auto Supply, the Car Quest in Elk City, because I love that place because the family owned, 3 generations actually worked there. It's pretty cool. So I like to use them as much as I can. And I gotta go pick up gaskets anyways. I'm probably gonna order a radiator from them too. But anyways, let's see if we can get this thing torn apart a little bit more and see if we can figure out why these are touching and they shouldn't be. Well, as much as I'd like to have tried to fix this thing, the ground port, when I was trying to take it apart, it broke. So I'm not gonna worry about it. Let's get a new one. So it is what it is on that kind of thing. Just get a reman one or whatever and be good. So we got the head gasket, everything done. I just did a good an oil change on it, put some high zinc fluid in it, or high zinc oil in it. She fires up nicely now. It just kind of purrs. So, got to get a radiator still. Alternator's coming on Tuesday. But yeah, overall this thing's doing really good now. So I'm happy where she's at. We got brakes, I got to order those here this week. But pretty soon we should be able to drive this thing. I think that's going to do it for this video. We got the head gasket put on. I got to order brakes still. Got to wait for payday on that because, you know, it's end of the month. So, you know, my mod money is spent already. And this was actually a big part of that because I had to, you know, pay for the truck. But so yeah, we're good to go on the engine for now. I think it's going to be good. We need to get a radiator, get the brakes, get the transmission put back together. It's not really a part. It's just put the PTO back on, get it back up in the truck. Make sure it's got fluid because I can't find anything obvious that's wrong with it. So, I mean, it's definitely some tolerances in there. They're probably loosened up over time, but I think it'll be fine once we get some good fluid in there. I'll put some thicker fluid. I'll put some 75 140 or something in it, or 90 140 or something a little thicker in there. But I think that'll do it for that. So yeah, once we get the brakes, we'll do a video on that, get the transmission put back in, and all that good stuff, and get it ready for the road. Definitely gonna need tires and everything, but I'm not worried about that at the moment, because there's bigger and better things coming for this thing. And kind of got some teasing on that, but we'll get more into it when the time comes. So go ahead and, if you could, hit that like, comment, subscribe button. Appreciate y'all being here, especially if you're here this long and at the end. So until next time, I will see y'all later.